All right, so I like to say first that you can't improve on perfection. You can't improve on perfection. The design of marriage from God, and we know this from the Bible, you can't improve on perfection. Every time you tamper with something perfect, the only thing you can do to it is to reduce its efficacy or efficiency. You can't improve on perfection. And what God does is perfect. So whenever you would tamper with the rules and the guidelines and the principles, will reduce its power. All right. And for people that live in Western world, they understand warranty is better. I know we have it almost everywhere, where if you buy a car from a dealer or authorized dealer and they give you a warranty that if anything happens, we'll fix it for you. We'll make sure this car is up and running. If you go and allow someone else touch it or you touch it, you void the warranty. That means they can't promise that the car will deliver or be fixed, or all the promises they made null and void from the time you tamper with it. That's what happens to a lot of people in marriage. They tamper with the design. The thing she said was literally saying, hey, sex is a choice. That's in marriage. You have no obligation to have sex with your partner. They'll be all right, and things like that. And on the surface, yes, that looks good. That, oh, you're not in the mood, whatever, that looks good. So my question to them in the comment section, and so far they've not been able to answer me, was, are there obligations in marriage at all? If sex is not an obligation, okay. I asked them, is the husband also obligated to talk to his wife? Can he say he's not in the mood to talk for 24 hours or for 1 week? Can he say that? And it was a simple question, and they've gone to the left, gone to the right. Nobody has been able to give a direct answer. I was trying to ask them, what is an obligation, what is not? What is key, what is not? And some people just ramble and say, oh, communication is key. I said, so communication is key, but consummation is not key. I said, who is defining, how do we determine what is key and what is not key? Who made these rules? And once in a while, I meet people that say there are no rules to marriage. And that's such a joke. People only say that when they've run into something or an instruction they don't want to do. So they say there are no rules. There are rules for every single thing. There's a rule. There are rules that make a car move. There are rules that make a plane fly. There are rules to every single thing, all right, that is working. There's a way to make it work, all right? And there's a rule in marriage. There's a law, or there's law in marriage. And that law is the law of love. The moment you start to say one thing is obligatory, the other is optional, who determines what is obligatory and what's optional? You see, because the way marriage works, men will always view something as more important. And this is why this is marriage coaching 101. For those that have gone through a proper marriage coaching, one of the things we teach, especially our own students, for instance, that want to be certified marriage coaches, you must go beyond your gender preference to look at the whole picture. Because sometimes if you're a man, if you're not careful, you only teach from male perspective. If you're a woman, sometimes you only teach from female perspective. You need a balanced perspective. And that takes growing beyond your own preference. So for instance, you can say, oh, sex is not obligatory, but communication is obligatory. Ask a lot of men. A lot of men would rather not talk. They don't necessarily need to talk. So the moment it becomes a matter of preference, oh, then I can choose. I don't want to pay bills. I don't want to cook. I don't want to take out the trash. I don't want to take the kids to school. If we run marriage by mood, oh, then we cannot pick and choose what we're in the mood to do. Then the marriage will break down. That's what I'm saying about there's a design. And I'll read some of the design to you. The law of marriage is called the law of love. And the law of love is not me trying to choose what I can get away with not doing. It's me saying, look, I'm all in to try to do everything I can do to make your life better. So, I totally, disagree and have an issue with the stand this lady was sharing that, oh, you are not obligated. It's not inconsistency with scripture. And of course, I don't even know if she's a Christian, so I'm not really dealing with that. I'm just dealing with the mindset that makes many people struggle in marriage because they think it's a matter of mood. They think, oh, if I'm in the mood, then I'll do this. If I'm in the mood to be nice to you, if I'm in the mood to be kind to you, if I'm in the mood to serve you. No, God never designed marriage to run by mood. He designed it to run by the law of love. The law of love is not you saying you must. have sex with your husband. It's saying you should want to please your husband. Let me read one of the most detailed teaching on marriage in Scripture. You will find it in one in Ephesians 5. The other one is 1 Corinthians 7. All right, Apostle Paul. So the whole chapter is on marriage and it's very detailed. It answered a lot of questions. But I'm going to pick just the issues surrounding this topic. So if you go to 1 Corinthians 7, from verse 32, it said, "But I would have you without carefulness." It said, "He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he please the Lord." That means the single person cares only about the things of the Lord. It said, "But he that is married," verse 33, "careth for the things of this world, how he may please his spouse." That is the law of marriage, his wife. And verse 34 says, there's a difference between the wife and the virgin. They're married and all that. It says, and if you read the B part, it said, "And she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband." So the law of love says, I'm here in this marriage to serve sacrificially, mood or no mood, to serve my spouse. And that is the same energy expected of my spouse towards me. It is two people doing their best to serve each other. Not somebody saying, I'm not obligated. The moment you bring the no obligation clause, then who determines what is obligatory and what is not? Sex is not obligatory. Okay, so is communication obligatory? Then how do we choose what is important? And a lot of times, people that are more communication minded, we say, oh, communication is key. Just because you have a low sexual libido doesn't mean you have the right to say sex is not important. You can even do a poll. Anybody here can do a poll. A group of random people, tell them, will you pick talking over sex? You will see. Some people will gladly pick talking. Some will gladly pick sex. And God have handled this disparity. He has said, everybody come with the intention of serving the other, not serving yourself. The moment you say serve yourself, every home will break. That's the secret behind the divorce rate you are seeing. Selfishness. Everybody trying to serve themselves. So if you try to serve yourself, I try to serve myself, we're going to go separate ways. If you come in to serve me and say, what do you need? I say, what I need is sex, not talk. And your wife comes in and say, or the husband asks the wife, what do you need? He said, I need talk, not sex. If both of us constantly look for ways to serve each other. Because somebody actually made a comment and said, oh, maybe, that is true that sometimes men are not giving their wives enough affection. They just want sex. I agree. So that's a different discussion. So that's a woman saying, look, I want more affection, not just sex. Great. He is obligated, you see, to meet that need. He is also obligated to meet that need. In fact, we are obligated. That's what when you say I do, what did you even think we said we do? What I think people need to tell me when you said I do, what did you think you were saying? In traditional vows, they will say for better, for worse. What you're saying is, look, in all circumstances, I do means I'm here for you. If you need my support in any area, you need my help, I'm here to meet your need. The design is powerful. Is there in scripture? The man's concern should be meeting his wife's need, whatever it is, whether it's affection, sex, communication, whatever. The wife is also there to meet her husband's need, whatever it is. So we are all under obligation or we are not under any obligation. The design is beautiful. The design works. It's when we step out of it. Let me read one more. Still the same 1 Corinthians 7. I'll read from verse 2. It says, nevertheless, okay, let me read from verse 1. So now concerning the things wherefore you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. It said, but nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So God is acknowledging here in scripture that the need for sex is important. That's what God is saying. And that marriage, part of what marriage does is that it provides, that help in that aspect, provides care. The design is perfect, guys. The design answers the questions. Look at verse 3. It said, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. He said, the wife does not have power of her own body, but the husband is the one that has the right. He said, but likewise also the husband has no power of his own body, but the wife. I like verse 5. It said, defraud ye not one another. That means God calls it fraud. Except you consent for a time and all that, so that Satan won't tempt you, blah, blah, blah. You can read that on your own. But the point is that the way marriage was designed, the two people are there to serve each other. Everything is obligatory. Of course, except it's something you really cannot do. For instance, if your husband says he wants to be the president of the United States, that's not my part. But I can campaign for you, I can support you. But I can't make you the president of America, you know. If it's something beyond the person's control, that's fine. But if it's something they can do, they should do it. And even if it's something that, for instance, maybe the husband is really tired, he can't have sex today, or the wife is really, really tired, the mode and attitude of expressing that is very different from you have no obligation if your partner is turned on. It's a very different thing. In fact, when we teach couples things like that, if your partner can't have sex today or whatever, we say, if, for instance, if the man initiates sex and the woman says, no, I can't, I'm too tired today, she has 24 hours to initiate back. Because a request has been made. She has to process it in 24 hours. That's just advice we give. But ideally, you should do your best to meet your partner's need, no matter what the need is. It's not just sex. That's why I'm saying that why was sex? My issue with that video was, oh, I'm not obligated to meet my partner's sexual need. So am I obligated to meet any need? Or is it just sex is not important, but the rest are important? Because in the comment section of that video, some people are saying, oh, communication is important. Who told you? It's important to you. To who? Who is making these rules? There are a lot of people that don't like to talk. A lot of people don't like to text, don't like to call. So are they off the hook because they don't like? No, they are obligated to keep in touch. So communication is key. Consummation is key. Everything, every need in a marriage is key, because that's why the marriage was designed. A major part of marriage is meeting your partner's need. So you can't say, oh, I'm not obligated because you're not in the mood. Oh, no, that was such a wrong way to look at marriage. These are things that breaks marriages. And one wise person said in the comment, because in her statement, she said, nobody has ever died from not having sex. But the person wrote that, but many marriages have died because of no sex. And of course, if you're involved in counseling, you will know that a lot of marriage, sex is such a glue. It's such a vital, it's not an optional part of marriage. Except you're not reading scripture. And even science agrees with this. There's a bonding that's even legally, if you marry someone and you've not had sex, they can annul the marriage. That means they won't even call it a divorce because it's not been consummated. So how do you say sex is not obligatory? No, of course, we're not talking about that you must rape somebody or go against their will. Come on, we're not talking about that. We're saying two people, that's why it says the law of love. It's not that one person is imposing or forcing. It's that I'm here to serve you. What do you need? It's the law of love. The law of love is two people giving to each other sacrificially. It's not one-sided. It's not one-sided. If we run it by mood, God knows that some people will like sex more. Some people will like communication more. We should both serve each other whether we're in the mood or not. Now, are we going to be able to 100% meet every need? No, but the direction, the attitude, the posture, the effort must be clear. My wife knows. You see, and the beautiful thing is that even if your partner does not meet up one day or one situation, does not meet up meeting your need, if they have been meeting your need all the time before, you can't get upset over one or two times. If they've been meeting every other time they've risen to the occasion. What causes a breakdown is that there's consistent turning down, consistently not showing up. Then it piles. If your partner needs to communicate and you're not showing up consistently, if it's that your partner didn't call you, maybe calls you every day and for one day did not call you, but they've been calling every other day, you'll be wicked to make a harsh remark or decision because they missed one day. It only becomes a problem if they miss many days, then it becomes a problem. So if you have been pouring into each other, not being able to have sex in one day should not be a problem if you have been pouring in consistently. But to use the term, you are not obligated, we need to determine what, the no obligation clause, where does it apply? Am I obligated to pay bills? Am I obligated to protect the home? Am I obligated to be kind? Am I obligated to communicate? Am I obligated to sleep in the house? Where do we draw the line between what is obligatory and what is optional? So marriage is beautiful in design. If you follow the design, trust me, you won't have issues. The design is that it's a covenant. We both come 100%, give each other the best version of ourselves, and keep striving to improve, listening to each other, meeting each other's need. That's the direction. Not myself, but my partner. And she also has the same energy. And you see that every marriage will work. It's called the law of love. All right? The law of love. All right? That supersedes every other law. And anything outside of that law brings marriage down to my preference, your preference, what I want, what you want. And the moment both people will bring it to my mood, your mood, you find out people start to not show up. I wasn't in the mood to come home. I wasn't in the mood to talk. I wasn't in the mood to have sex. I wasn't in the mood to cook. I wasn't in the mood to take the kids. I wasn't in the mood to... And the marriage will break down. So, hey, I don't know if this helped somebody, but there is a design of marriage. There is a design. Trust me. There's a design. The designer called God. It wasn't your favorite talk show that started marriage. It wasn't your favorite social media influencer that started marriage. Marriage existed before any culture, before any society. Marriage started from the Garden of Eden. All right? God, the designer. No human being could have been able to design marriage. If it was the men that designed marriage, a lot of them will design it from the one with the clause that you can have as many wives as possible. If it's women that design marriage, they will have their own preferences. If you see the real design of marriage, it doesn't favor one gender over another. It doesn't favor one person's need over another. It favors the collective. If you look at it well, such a perfect design, like I said. You can improve on perfection. All right? So, hope this has blessed you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things you need to do in this video. I look forward to seeing you. And hey, let me know in your comment section what you think as well, so that we can discuss this further. All right? So, God bless you. See you later.